In a previous video, we talked about the importance of doing a market analysis, setting the right stage for offers whenever you're negotiating a contract. Market analyses are also important when representing sellers. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how to do a market analysis. Let's dive in. So I'm here in my database, the multiple listing database. Now yours might look different, but when you follow through with this tutorial, you'll be able to get the gist of how to do it on yours. So we're assuming several things here. We're assuming that our subject property, whether it's a property for a seller of yours or it's a buyer of yours, we're assuming in this case that the property is a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, or about 950 square feet, or let's say 1,000 square feet, and it is in Fort Worth, which is in Texas. So I'm going to go to my map. I'm going to plug in to the map my imaginary address. You want to put in a real address. You want to also make sure that you see the property, or whether it's virtually or in person, or you hear from the seller, the condition of the property, ask them several questions about the property so you know what the condition is like. And so we're saying this subject property is 123 Main Street, and it's in Fort Worth, Texas. Hit enter, it takes me right to that property. It pinpoints the closest match. If this was a real property, it would take us to exactly that property. Since it's probably not real, it's taking us to Main Street. But the pinpoint shows you where that property is, where that match is. And from there, you want to draw a radius around it so you can see other sales activity in the area. So we're going to take the radius drawing tool, click on it, turns yellow, go to the pinpoint of the property, click on that and draw out. And so you could go out as far as 1/2 mile or 1/3 of a mile if it's very densely populated. In this case, we're doing 1/2 mile. It's right in the city. In rural areas, you might go out further just to be able to capture more sales activity. And so I'm going back to my criteria. So the default is active properties, properties that are under contract, but the most weight is carried by the closed sales, those properties that have already demonstrated what a ready, willing, and able buyer is buying such a property for in the current market. So I want to select the closed properties. Also want to select those that are pending. They've passed their inspection period and now they're just waiting for usually just their financing to be able to close. So the default here is 90 days. If the market was super, super hot and properties were closing, selling so very quickly, I would shorten that time to maybe 30 days to see the most recent activity. If the market is slow and it's taking longer periods of time for properties to sell, maybe 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months for them to sell, then I would extend this out. My current market right now, it's a little bit slower than before. And so we're going to use 180 days. That's 6 months out. Now, remember, we were assuming that our subject property has 1 bedroom. So let's say 1+. So it will show us every property that matches this criteria. In this case, 1 bedroom and up, 1 bedroom or more. Also, we're going to put 1 bathroom or more. And then we have a square footage of 1,000 square feet. And so we want to do a range 20% below and 20% more is a good range that you can put in for your square footage. So 20% below would be 800 and up to 20% more will be 1,200. Of course, you could expand this range out further if you're not finding anything within that range, or you could make it smaller, a smaller range, maybe between 900 and 1,100 if there's so many properties showing up within the range you originally put in. So you can always expand or contrast as needed. For the acreage, let's say we have 2 acres. So right here at the bottom, I can see I have 7 matches for all this criteria that fits my subject criteria. So let's see what they look like. And so we have all of these 7. We're going to do a quick summary. So on this summary, we can see the active properties, the criteria, the characteristics of the properties, and how much they sold for. So in this case, we have 2 of them that are 1 bedrooms. So that's similar to our subject property, 1 bathrooms as well, very close in square footage. They were built in 1972, and that we can assume ours was built the same year. Looks like they're all in that same year. It looks like a condo complex. And they all have the swimming pool, and they all have the 2+ acres. So this tells us that the properties that are most similar to the subject property, they're selling in this range of 345 and 365. Now, the difference between these two might lie in the condition of the property. So that's why it's very important to know what the condition of your property is, so that you can figure out, is it going to be on the lower end or is it going to be on the higher end? From this first property, they're asking 295. Most of the others are selling higher. They're the ones that are on the market, and also the ones that have sold. They've all sold higher. You can look at the square footage, price per square footage in the 300s, 370s, 360s, 411, and this one is selling for 319. So this automatically would tell you that there's something going on with the property. Maybe it needs some work. Maybe it's a distressed sale, one thing or the other. So it might be just it's in good condition, but the seller needs to move quickly, and that the buyer gets to enjoy the benefit of a low price for a property that could sell for more, would probably appraise for more, and that way the buyer is buying with equity. So if all things being equal, with this number 1 property that's going for 295 compared with the ones that have sold, if all things being equal, meaning they're all in similar condition, then this would be a property that the buyer would probably want to jump on at the full price, or more if there's a bidding war, because the market analysis shows that these properties are selling for more. And if the buyer bought this property for 300,000 or anywhere close to that, they most likely would be buying it with equity. So this is just a quick tutorial of how to do a CMA in a nutshell. Now, many MLSs, they have more detailed tutorials, more in-depth trainings of doing a CMA. So please avail yourselves to that as well. I'll see you in the next video.